The Biden administration has now unleashed the most powerful law enforcement apparatus in the world, the U.S. Department of Justice, against American parents, middle-class parents whose kids go to public school, and who voice any opposition whatsoever to the racism now being pushed on their kids. Why are they doing this? Because something called the National School Boards Association has told DOJ that these parents are domestic terrorists.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today I want to bring to your attention what the nation knows and what the world knows. How the National School Boards of Association and the Department of Justice and the President of the United States has disregarded parental rights. Parental rights protected by the First Amendment under free speech and freedom of assembly.
As we open up our series on the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, called the Bill of Rights, we see the First Amendment stating, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The Bill of Rights stands on this First Amendment. Without this amendment, all others would fall.
The association will contend that they're asking the president to intervene because of the possible threat from parents. Sure. If the possible threats are harsh words, which is what really is, then sure, parents are domestic terrorists because they're freely dissenting, asking questions about the education of their children. Yes, they're definitely domestic terrorists because they're concerned parents. And it makes me furious that you have an association and the Department of Justice even considering the invocation of the Patriot Act of 2001 against parents.
You're teaching children to hate others because of their skin color.
So I call this podcast, Loudoun County is Rotting with Leftist Leadership in Control. Loudoun County, once the crown jewel of Northern Virginia and known for being the richest county in the United States, a prime location to live, raise children, and having an educational system second to none. Well, that is no longer the case these days. Unfortunately, the best education system in the nation has been invaded by leftist Marxist leadership. A leadership that is rotting the core of the judicial and educational systems of Loudoun County. Starting with candidate and ex-governor Terry McAuliffe and Beth Bartz of the Leesburg District, who have joined the bandwagon of limiting the parental rights of residents in Loudoun County. And this wasn't the sentiment of residents until the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions were lifted and parents started attending the school board meetings. To their surprise, the school board, primarily staffed by elected leftist Marxists or progressive officials, began their plot to consistently disregard the parents' objections and parental rights concerning questions about the school curriculum, school books in the libraries.
A Virginia school system has suspended circulation of 2 books from their library after a mother expressed concern about their explicit material.
Both of these books include pedophilia.
There are children in the audience here.
Do not interrupt my
Transgender.
time. Do not interrupt my time.
I would like to remind everybody.
I will stand here until my time is restored and my time is finished.
But why were these books on the school shelves in the first place?
This school board's nightmarish change in the county's policy to disregard taxpaying parents has emboldened the school board to ask the President of the United States and the Department of Justice Attorney General Merrick B. Garland to invoke the Patriot Act against parents, resulting in an upsurge of arrests at school board meetings at the behest of the school board, as well as an outright admonishment of parents voicing their concerns and dissent.
It's just not appropriate.
No.
It's pedophilia and it's against the law. By the way, here's a statement that we got.
It is against the law, and
Yes.
that was the point that I did not get to make. I was very angry during the meeting that they stole my time.
The scene, I don't need to tell you if you watch that, playing out in Loudoun County, Virginia, where hundreds of parents push back against the school board over the district's transgender policy and other things. The district has also been the epicenter of the fight against critical race theory in the classroom. Look at that.
Candidate for governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, famously stated during a debate, "I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach." He also vetoed a move by parents for the removal of controversial books from the school libraries.
I mean, what we saw last night on full display with flashing red lights was Terry McAuliffe's heart, that he believes that government and politicians know better for our children than parents. He wants to exclude parents from being involved in educating our children.
And county school board member Beth Bartz was censured for violating its code of conduct with inappropriate and inflammatory statements. One such action was her soliciting on Facebook for funds for a criminal case against her for misappropriation of funds. The school board on Thursday, March 4th, 2021, held a meeting for the censure motion by Chairperson Brenda Sheridan, who stated, "The school board finds that school board member Beth Bartz did violate School Board Policy 1030, Code of Conduct for school board members in failing to put student interest first. Paragraph B2. Failed to show respect for fellow board members and staff in the spirit of harmony and cooperation. Paragraph B3. Failed to welcome and encourage active cooperation of Loudoun County residents and the district. Paragraph B9. And failed to work in the spirit of teamwork in the service to the community. Paragraph B10. And that this board does not condone the behavior of school board member Beth Bartz and does hereby publicly censure her." So as you can see, the leftist ideology not only comes from a former governor running for the same governorship, but an appointed school board member of the Loudoun County Public Schools.
Board members, I'd also like to make the following motion. I move the school board finds that school board member Beth Bartz did violate School Board Policy 1030, Code of Conduct for school board members, in failing to put student interests first, paragraph A2, failed to show respect for fellow board members and staff in a spirit of harmony and cooperation, paragraph B3, failed to welcome and encourage active cooperation of Loudoun County residents in the district, paragraph B9, and failed to work in a spirit of teamwork and service to the community, paragraph B10, and that this board does not condone the behavior of school board member Beth Bartz and does hereby publicly censure her.
I would like you, the audience, to imagine you are a parent of a child or children in the local Loudoun County public school system, and the school board is dismissing parental concerns about the education of these children. Well, this is happening quite frequently at the school board meetings by elected school members, in which the board members and the parents set about discussing their views on matters such as mask mandates, critical race theory, gender identification, and transgender policies. The problem arises when parents dissent against the curriculum that affects the social development of these young minds. The board has become intolerant as parents engage in discussions opposing these new woke curriculum, and that parents say is the indoctrination of their children against their parents.
CRT is not an honest dialogue. It is a tactic that was used by Hitler and the Ku Klux Klan. CRT is racist. It is abusive. It discriminates against one's color. Ban CRT. We don't want your political advertisement to divide our children or belittle them.
And the sexualization of their children. And worse yet, the board meetings have the power to end scheduled meetings abruptly when parents demonstrate solidarity in support of their children's education.
I am disgusted by your bigotry and your depravity.
Joe Mobley to be followed by Donna.
Madam Chair, I move to end public comment.
There's been a motion to end public comment. Is there a second? Thank you. The motion carries 9-0. Public comment is now ended. We will move to our next agenda.
And declare the meetings an unlawful assembly, prompting for the removal of parents from the auditorium or face immediate arrest. Folks, this is martial law in our school board meetings. Not just in Loudoun County, but other municipalities around the country. A war against parental rights. And consider how it would feel to have the school board superintendent declare a school board meeting an unlawful assembly before its official ending time. This is another form of suppressing the conservative voices of the parents. But the Loudoun County Public School Board has been complicit not only in their suppression of the First Amendment rights of the parents and the indoctrination of the children to leftist ideologies, but the promotion of sexual promiscuity within school libraries filled with controversial books like Tiffany D. Jackson's book, Monday's Not Coming. The title's contents are posted as part of the Loudoun County Public Schools diverse text collection for 9th grade and depicts scenes of graphic underage sex and violent domestic abuse. Other titles in the classroom include Prince and Knight for the 2nd grade, Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teen Speaks Out, Some Girls Blind, Weird Girl, and What's His Name, positively featuring statutory rape between a young boy and his boss, and a relationship between a girl and her teacher. And Being Jazz, My Life as a Transgender Teen. This is what has parents upset because the children's childhood and family values are being poisoned with these types of graphic displays that in most stores require a covering or a place in the adult section of libraries.
Veto books, Glenn, not to be knowledgeable about it, also take them off the shelves. And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decision.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I stopped the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
According to Veronica Korolenko on May 13th, 2021 article, Pornography in the Classroom, Sexually Explicit Materials in Virginia Schools Sparks Outrage Among Parents. She says, the dangers of early sexual initiation have long been studied and may be summarized as the sooner the worse. Promoting graphic sexual content that incites harmful behavior at such a young age is irresponsible at best. It remains unclear the educational value of these books possess other than to corrupt a child's innocence early. Even books at the kindergarten level promote LGBTQ ideology through such titles as Cheryl Kilo Davis's My Princess Boy, designed to introduce 5- and 6-year-olds to the idea they can change their gender. And Leslie Newman's Heathers Has Two Mommies, which denies the need for fathers in the family and ignores a loss a child might feel over having no relationship with his or her father. And I agree with her because I think school boards across the nation are attempting to rob the children of their innocence and childhood with such publications as either part of the curriculum or part of the new Diverse Classroom Library Initiative. The new Classroom Library Initiative seems to lean towards indoctrinating children into sexual awareness at too early an age. But why? Weren't these school board members children once? Or are these school board members secretly a perverse group of adults determining the school education policies of the children? My God, has society sunk so low that we are training our children to become perverts and promote sexual promiscuity? I refuse to believe that. I do. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Also, it should be known that 2 instances of a possible cover-up of sexual assaults in 2 county schools by the same male or transgender student. The parent, Scott Smith, was initially banned from attending a meeting in which he would call to question why the student accused of rape was moved to a different school. Scott Smith was immediately arrested when an activist provoked Scott Smith, stating that his daughter's rape did not occur. According to the Daily Mail article, Loudoun County father who was dragged out of woke school board meeting reveals his daughter was raped in the girls' bathroom by a skirt-wearing male student who was arrested for assaulting a second girl months later. But the staff did nothing. A second rape that could have been prevented had the county public schools asked the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office remand the student to juvenile detention. He, Scott Smith, now faces charges as a domestic terrorist, according to the Department of Justice, because Loudoun County Attorney General Bhuta Bibiraj has insisted on his prosecution. Where is the justice, or why the cover-up? No matter what you might be thinking right now, it's clear something is wrong when a parent of a rape victim can receive jail time and the rapist gets a pass, or rather transferred to another school to commit the same crime on another student. Fortunately, the school board is under investigation for the cover-up. However, it is clear the school did nothing for their failure to protect Scott Smith's daughter. Public schools are the nursery of democracy. Why do I quote this? It was the opinion for the majority. Justice Stephen Breyer wrote, "America's public schools are the nurseries of democracy." He went on to elaborate that punishing students for unpopular off-campus speech would fail to teach them the importance of protecting all speech in a democracy. Rightfully so, because the parents have been carrying the mantle of free speech in the meetings with leftist Marxist school board members, risking arrest, viewed as domestic terrorists for the educational development of their children. I thank God that parents are doing everything they can to protect their children from an education system that is failing them. I thank God that parents are willing to face certain arrest for their dissent against the destruction of family values. I thank God that parents are not part of the woke and cancel culture that has sprouted like weeds from one end of the country to the other. And I ask God to protect parents in their endeavors to rectify these issues across our nation. It is bad enough that the woke and cancel culture has spread like cancer in our current government, but appears to be permeating into the school system, with the possibility of infecting the young among us, the children of tomorrow's future. I pray to God that children can remain innocent in a nation that is fighting this progressive movement towards decadence, perversion, and anarchy. I ask the parents to continue their efforts to oppose the growing evil called progression.
I want to get to Secretary Becerra. Do you think parents should be in charge of their child's education as the primary stakeholder?
I believe parents are important stakeholders, but I also believe educators have a role in determining educational programming.
And I think that's going to be a little out of focus, what I think you're going to find across all elements of education. Since they pay the bills, they raise the kids, they probably need to be the primary spokespeople for their own kids' good education.
Folks, my conclusion is that we have a government and we have local leadership, not just in Loudoun County, but in other municipalities, that have taken a progressive approach, or rather a leftist Marxist approach, in the indoctrination of our children to help our nation fail, to help our children fail. So I ask you, if you're a parent, attend schoolboard meetings, voice your dissent. Let them know who your parent is. Your parenting does not end when you bring your child or children to the doorsteps of the school. It doesn't end there. It continues while they are in school. Because the educators are entrusted with the education and love of their mind for a better tomorrow. The Biden administration